We are live and welcome back. We got some early plays to PimpSlap to go over here for this week's college and NFL cards. Coming off of what was a really nice week last week. Wasn't it there, Mike?
Oh, yeah. We got double sweeps here. You swept the board. I swept the board. That's exactly where we want to be here. We're heating up.
Oh yeah, I got the Tar Heels to come through at the -2.5 there. I didn't understand the line move, and they ended up kicking the crap out of Miami. Got the Jets to win outright against your Eagles there, and then had the teaser there with the Chargers and the Bears. The beautiful thing I noticed about the Chargers-Bears teaser is they both cover the teaser legs. Neither of them won or covered outright. Yeah. So it was a beautiful thing is you had to tease those teams to do anything with them. So we have both those. So perfect 3-0. For last week's plays for me. What were yours? I don't remember exactly what yours were on, but
yeah, I had the I don't remember if it was Thursday or Friday, but it was the West Virginia over, East Carolina under teaser cashed comfortably. I had the Lions -3, still getting no respect out there, and then Virginia Tech on the money line was a smooth sailing victory as well. So 3-0 for me, back-to-back 3-0s as well. That moves me to 9-6 on the early plays to PimpSlap show. Let's go.
Hell yeah. And currently we have I remember if I heard you right earlier, you're on a little bit of Astros action right now. They're currently up 4-0 in the fourth because they keep putting Javier as a dog, which is beautiful.
You don't do it. You don't do it. When will they win?
Exactly. We'll quickly head over to the chat. It's just Joseph Thompson saying good luck, boys. What is good, Joseph Thompson? But we will get into it here. We'll kick it off with you here, the USC Trojans and the Utah Utes. Trojans off of that loss last week against Notre Dame. They're 7-point home favorites in this spot. Total 53 in this game. What's your thoughts on this one?
You know, it's funny, the whole quarterback, I'll call it a controversy at this point. Is he playing? Isn't he playing? Is he playing? Isn't he playing every single week? But, you know, what's surprising to me is you got a team like USC that's slaying a touchdown out there here, a -7 spot. And doesn't that kind of seem suspect coming off that loss to Notre Dame? They haven't covered in 4 straight spots. And my hammer spot here on this game is going to be that USC -6.5. -7s are out there now. Here's the thing about this situation here and why I feel like it's a perfect fit. We've got a team that comes off a loss that didn't cover the spread. And in this case, that was USC last week. When they're a home favorite and they're on a losing streak of 3 or more games, it's 25-10 against the spread, covered by a margin of almost a touchdown. For me, it's a USC or nothing spot here. You know, you're seeing a whole lot of press going on right now as this draft class starts to heat up for the NFL. And, you know, nobody's got kind of the brighter star at this point than that USC quarterback. In fact, I just read, you know, here's a guy that says he wants to be part owner of an NFL franchise when he gets drafted to that particular team. And I like it. I put your money where your mouth is at this point. We got a star in the making at quarterback, and we got this USC team at home. They like to score a lot of points as well. The totals certainly jump off the page at me, but Utah is kind of a stymied program. I love the spot where you got a team that's on a losing streak against the spread, coming off that loss. That might mean this number could have been as high as 10, and the situation and the circumstances here in that 25-10 college football streak right now, I'm taking that USC money at -7.
All right, we're gonna start off the show with a straight up disagreement here. I already took the Utes and I took them outright as well. I think this is a downright disrespectful line for this Utes team, and I get it. We don't know whether or not Cam Rising's going to be playing in these games or not, but that defense I think is one of those defenses that can actually slow down USC. And as for the total, these two teams, for me, one is a dead nut under team. The other one's a dead nut over team. Makes me have no interest in the total in this game. But I'm already on the opposite side there. I had this game more like a 3, so I thought this line was a little too wide for me, and I grabbed some Utes for that one here. We'll move on to the next matchup here. One of my favorite teams so far this season. I know a lot of people can't stand this team because they're probably the most boring team to watch in college football. They might go 11-1 this year and still fire their offensive coordinator because they're not going to score 25 points per game. But with that being said, the Hawkeyes are 3.5-point favorites. And take a look at this total right here, 31.5. No, I'm not messing with that total. I'm just not. There are better spots out there than to mess with this freaking total. That being said, I am going to be looking at this side in this game here. And one team I've really been backing a lot lately is these Iowa Hawkeyes. And I think they're very undervalued with McNamara's injury there because he was out last week and they won the most Big Ten West type of football game you can. 15-9 over Wisconsin. Don't look now. The Iowa Hawkeyes might go 11-1 and win the Big Ten West and find themselves in a conference championship game this year. With that team right there, that can't score a freaking touchdown. But with that being said, I saw a stat here. This team's undefeated when they put up a point this year. All they need is 1 point, and they're undefeated this year. Their only loss was a 31-0 loss against Penn State. Every other game they've won, and I'm on them here. I think this line should have been close to double digits, actually. This is one of my highest graded plays of the week. I love Iowa in this spot, and I'm going to lay the points with them here.
I don't know about the double digits here. Iowa doesn't put enough points on the board to be double digits.
No, that was just my projected line for the game, though.
But I do think it's a good Iowa spot here. Iowa's certainly in an opportunity. I saw a 9-0-1 trend out there for Iowa this morning when I was looking through some early college football lines, and I like it. I like the spot. It's a lot of points to lay. That hook could certainly be a factor. I'll be rooting for you, but I might find Iowa in a teaser somewhere along the line as well.
Do we dare take a shot with this over at a 31.5 and hope for what it would be a 17? No, it'd be a 20-14 game.
This
20-14 over in
this game's gonna be like 20-3. So we'll see what happens. But if the other side can bring the points along with it, then that'll make a difference. But we know we're not going to see an explosion of offense out of Iowa. Those two conversations just don't go together. Explosion of offense in Iowa is an oxymoron. It doesn't fit together. It doesn't make sense here. But I'm not a Minnesota fan. That PJ Fleck and the Fleck Bank, you guys have heard me talk about that for a few weeks now. Just something I don't get down with. You're getting credit and encouraging your teammates to blow each other in. It just creates a negative culture, and there's going to be hostility when push comes to shove. And these guys get into the trenches and they start falling behind. They're not going to have that fight with one another to have each other's backs in the line when they don't have each other's backs in the coach's room. So I just don't think that's a good chemistry and makeup for PJ Fleck. I think that's a big mistake, and I think Iowa can be the beneficiary this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. We'll head over to the chat here, and then we'll get into the NFL. Don Play was good. Joseph Thompson saying Red Wings scored, cash the team total over. I am on that over. Full game, 6.5, and it's currently 4-1 at the end of the second period. So looking decent there, and the Sens are taking care of business right now. They're looking good too. What's good? Wine Time Sports, New Mexico State smash. I'm on the Miners tonight. Tim likes Minnesota. I disagree with that one there, and he says USC by a lot. So, all right, Tim doesn't like me at all. Yeah. Why is this Iowa line so short for Iowa at home? They are the clear and cut better team and have crazy home field advantage. Pretty simple is they're overreacting to McNamara's injury. That's what it is.
Makes sense.
Flea Mathis. Also, not many people want to lay that many points with Iowa with that offense. Like that scares a lot of people with that. So,
but that line's come down quite a bit too. I mean, there were 6.5s out there early look ahead spots, and I think it's one of those 3.5.
I think that's McNamara being basically ruled out.
But you got a road dog that's getting public action, and that to me is always a spot where you want to think about that fate. So.
Yeah, because everybody thinks Iowa can't score points, so let me grab especially you're laying over a field goal in a game with 31.5 as your total. Yeah, I could see why the public would like the dog in that spot. Cash Scherzer over 1.5 runs in the second inning, in and out. I got the team total over there in the fifth, or the fourth. I forgot what inning it was, but it's already 5-0 Astros, so that was very nice there. All I want to hear is Washington, the late night. Yes, over 31.5 would be an absolutely disgusting play. Sam Houston live spot. I'll be completely honest. I haven't watched the second of that game, so I do not know.
No, I'm on the other side of that thing.
Wow, dang. Okay.
I got the 5.5 and the money line, so I would.
Yeah, I felt like my number suggested there's value on Sam Houston. Plus, it looked too easy to grab the points against a winless football team. Oh well, it's 17-10 in the third quarter. That game is probably. That -5 is probably cooked, so I would stay off. I don't trust Sam Houston's offense to come from behind. Can we get a scoreless third period in Ottawa? I'd be fine with that. PimpSlap, tell me why I shouldn't cash out of all my Penn State tickets.
I think they're live. Out on Penn State tickets. There's only 2 teams in the nation that have covered every spread and won every game. One of them is Penn State. The other one's Oklahoma. I actually thought about making that my teaser this week here, simply just on the fact that these teams like to get the job done. Ohio State's a tough place to play. That should be that game. should probably be one of the marquee games of the season, let alone, we got two teams that are really battling for the top of the Big Ten. We know there are always battles. It's always Michigan, Ohio State, and then Penn State finds a way to get themselves in contention. They could make that step up this year. I like them this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I probably lean dog or pass in that game. I actually think the under is probably the better look in that Penn State-Ohio State game. Both defensive have looked really good this year. Oh, fuck the late night special. Drunk Tim bet way too much on Hawaii. Shine your...
You guys love it. You love it. You love it, guys. Make sure you hit that like button for us. Retweet this content. We're doing this stuff here, giving you guys those early looks. We want to cook the books with you guys here, and we want to help get that word out there and let everybody find these spots here. Boys are running hot. We both had 3-0s last week, and we're looking to run it back and keep it going.
Yep. Temple team total under. I've already laid the points with SMU, so I'm fine with that. And then Joseph Thompson saying, "Sorry, Tim. I just need one more goal in the third period." Yeah, Tim has the under. Joseph has the over. But we'll get into the NFL here. We get an AFC East battle here for your game. The Buffalo Bills are 9-point road favorites with a total of 41 in this game. One thing I've noticed with the NFL this week is there are a lot more lower totals. Yeah. I think this is the week that the books correct themselves. We see a little bit more overs. But what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there are some overcorrection factors here. And, I'll give you guys a couple of thoughts on this game. First and foremost, we know what happens when teams play San Francisco the following week. But did you know when teams play the Raiders the following week is a real thing as well to the under? They're just finding a way not to score points. I thought about that New England team total under in this spot because Buffalo's been a 10-0 under on the road going back to last season, 2 seasons ago, as a matter of fact. But the spot that I got to look at here is just simply Buffalo Bills in a motivated, hungry, ready-to-eat situation here. We've got the offensive coordinator being questioned about the playbook that he's calling out there and whether or not he knows who Josh Allen is. They're trying to take the leash off the guy and let him eat. He is eating on New England as well. He's 4-0, covering the spread by 12 points on average against those New England Patriots here. Not a good season for Mac Jones. He looks terrible. Bill Belichick's seat is hot. It might even be on fire. And check this number out here. This is an NFL-wide trend. This trend goes back to 1998. So for context, that's a long-ass time. And
that is a long time. I wasn't even born yet.
What's that trend look like? It's one of these favorites that I have here. I call it the mashup trend. When you have the line and the points combined for less than 0 in the game, then you're in a situation where the team ends up going 23-3 straight up, 21-5 against the spread. For anybody that's not aware, when you took that line, you back out the total of the game itself. We certainly hit that mark. And as long as that line is currently less than -2. So the Bills in a -9 spot, that number looks a little inflated to me. I think I sent over an 8. I locked down an 8 yesterday. I see an 8.5 out there. So for context right now, this number, I will take the 8.5 that's across the books.
That's fair.
With the only exception
I use Bet Online numbers, by the way. These are all Bet Online numbers for when I type them in.
FanDuel, Caesars, WinBet, PointsBet, BetRivers, BetMGM, all are sitting at that 8.5. I gave it out yesterday at -8, one of my favorite spots. And I don't expect that number to go back down. It's a windy game. Buffalo's just got that work on. And again, they're hungry. They're a motivated bunch that's trying to find wins. They were primetime letdowns last week there with that Giants game. They barely won the game. Questionable holding in the offense in the end zone there to kind of bring that thing through and get the victory. But I think they're here. They're motivated. They certainly know the script to beat Bill Belichick, and Mac Jones is not having that season. So 8.5s, if it had to be 9 and that's the only number you can get, well, you should have listened earlier in the week, but I would still take that as well. I wouldn't pick her about a point. I think it's an easy double-digit victory for the Bills this week.
There you go. Yeah, this is not a game I've gotten to yet. I don't know if it's a game I'm going to get to, so it's an easy, probably a pass for me. We'll move on to my game here, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the LA Rams. The Rams 3-point favorites, total 44.5. And talk about disrespected teams. You mentioned the Detroit Lions are a disrespected team. How about these Rams, who are 4-1-1 ATS so far this season? They've been a team I've consistently gone to for contest picks and things like that. This has been a great team for me because I said from before the season started, there's going to be value on this LA Rams team. And we're going right back to them this week here. My number for them here, let's see, I had this game more like a 5.5, not a 3. So I think we're we're getting nice value here on the line with these Rams like we have all season long. And this Pittsburgh Steelers team, I just don't trust them offensively. I think offensively the Rams are the better team, and we see the Rams get a nice home win here in this spot. Steelers off of a bye. Teams off of buys don't have as good of a track record as people think they do recently. So
losing.
This is
teams off of bye are losing.
Yeah, they're not. They're flat. So if you think they came off flat, maybe Rams first quarter, first half type of deal as well. But I'm going to go ahead and lay the 3 here in this spot. The Rams in this spot. This line should have been more like 5, 5.5, maybe a 6.
Yeah. So, the big thing about this spot here, when you look at specifically, you focus in, I'm going to look at Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin led teams coming off a divisional spot where they had a big win. And this is constituted by beating Baltimore. They're 5-11 against the spread. So what that tells me is Mike Tomlin kind of puts all his gas into that big divisional rivalry. That makes sense, right? It's a big makes sense spot because you got to certainly win those divisional games to have home field opportunities in the playoffs and make that wild card push. But what happens after those rah-rah games where he gets the boys fired up and motivated? He's 5-11 against the spread. So not that they take their foot off the gas, they just kind of used up all the gas, if you will. And unders coming off a bye are 10-23. 8-25 on the unders, 10-23 straight up. So there's your after a bye fact. 10-23 are teams straight up coming off of that bye. At this point, I think that under correlates with the home favorite. And you take the favorite to score. The Steelers don't have that offense. There's a lot of guys coming back for Pittsburgh as well. Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, there's some guys that are supposed to come back to the offense. Some defensive players coming back as well. I always like to fade teams when they've got their star players coming back. That first game takes a little bit of time to get back in the rhythm. They're certainly going to be making sure that their snap count's appropriate and that they don't re-injure themselves as well. So I like that Rams spot quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. We'll head over to the chat, and then we'll get into teaser time.
Teaser time.
Oh, yeah. Cameron saying, hell yeah, Penn State, let's ride.
Yeah.
Nasty Nate saying, I have the under as well. Pat's smash. That's smash.
No,
Tim kind of likes the
Nate. Nasty Nate said that?
Yeah. Houston -1.5 plus money. Shout out. There you go. They're looking good right now. 5-0 in the top of the 5th. Rams house. Love to hear it. And let's go Red Wings. Puck line's looking good. I was leaning Red Wings in that game. I ended up just taking the over. But we'll get into some teaser time. Yours is in college. Mine's in the pros. What is your teaser for this week, Mike?
Man, this thing looks just ugly, but I got to run with it here. And the 2 spots that I'm working with here, I'm starting with Bama. Bama playing a game. There's some margin factors on that previous game when they don't cover the spread and the opponent does. Alabama is at a 9-3 against the spread position. Big number though. I don't want to lay 8.5 points with Bama, playing Tennessee. These games tend to match up really well. Tennessee brings their A game. Bama certainly had their trials and tribulations this season, albeit they had a big game the other day, beat up Arkansas 24-21, but they were laying almost 20 points on the spread. So this kind of makes that trigger factor here where they win the game, but they don't cover the spread. And the opponent is in the position that has won the game and covered the spread. It's kind of that perfect situation where you're buying low in a team, and that buy low factor is 9-3 against the spread. Take 6 points off that thing. It drops me down to Alabama -2.5. Give me that Alabama. And we'll go flip on to the other side of this thing. Man, I couldn't believe it, but I had to rock with Old Dominion. And I got the Old Dominion spot from the +6.5 on the line up to +12.5. Why? Home dogs when they're playing after 3 p.m. and the total's greater than 50 against a conference opponent coming off a loss. They are 20-6. When you factor in that 6 points, they move to 22-4. There's 2 teams that trigger this weekend for that straight or that spread factor. Old Dominion's one of them. The other one's Arkansas State. But for me, I had to kind of go back to Old Dominion. Old Dominion's made me some cash this season. And again, that home dog factor with a big total tells me that the dog is able to find a way to cover because they put points on the board. My second leg of the teaser is Old Dominion +12.5. That should be some good Saturday cash.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked at these 2 games, I got nothing on, I don't think either of them, because I think these lines are about right. I think I have a slight lean towards taking the points with Tennessee, the 8.5, because I had that game around a 7.5. But that the Old Dominion game I have exactly at a 6.5. So I didn't see any value in either of those games, so I didn't get involved with them. But for mine, we're going into the NFL because I only tease the NFL. I only tease sides in the NFL. I'm very particular on the way I tease. So these are two of the teams that fell into the categories that I like, that I saw value on this week. For starters, according to my numbers, the largest discrepancies in what the spread should be and what the spread actually is actually with the New York Giants this weekend at plus 2.5. So this is a play that I'll be betting straight as well. Both these plays, one thing that you know for when you're betting a teaser is generally I like to bet them straight as well. Last week wasn't the case, but this week I think is. I think both these teams covered the original numbers, but getting the 6 points and especially teasing through those specific 3, 4, 6, 7 numbers are very huge. I like getting the Giants from the 2.5 up and over the touchdown up to 8.5 in this game. I see a very low scoring game, or I see a close game, maybe not low scoring, but close game there with the Giants and the Commanders. And I'm on the Seahawks minus 1.5. I'll probably be laying the points with the Seahawks as well this week. The Cardinals, I think there's value betting against them now because of the way they started the season. Everybody remembered how they started the season off really good against the spread, and now they're finally becoming the team that we believe that they're going to be this year and really looking like that tanking Cardinals team. I cashed the ticket with the Rams last week, and I'm going to look to do the same thing with the Seahawks this week. I like the Seahawks getting them down from 7.5 all the way down to the 1.5 number there. So mine is the Giants plus the points and the Seahawks minus the points there.
Kyler Murray, there's Kyler Murray sightings out there, and he's ready to roll. We'll see what that does with this game. I got that Seahawks in a leg of a teaser for my plays I gave out yesterday, so I can't fault that spot. I like that spot a lot. In fact, I got it at -2 to see that number drop a little bit. Even better number at -1.5. The Giants, we're going to agree to disagree, though. Here's a number I got for you guys with these Giants. Doesn't mean they can't get the job done at the 8.5, but they are 0-7 against the spread when they've got a game where they scored less than 13 points. Think about how that makes sense. You scored less than 13 points because your team just can't get their shit together. They can't get the bus in gear. Now you go out there this following week, and you're still not able to get the job done and get the bus in gear. Obviously the Danny Dimes factor is a big deal. And in that 0-7 spot, the Giants are only putting up 141 passing yards, which kind of says to me, big Saquon Barkley day. If it's a big Saquon Barkley day and he's able to get some generated offense on the ground with his legs, that's going to move the clock and give the Giants a good chance to cover, that 8.5. I like it being over the touchdown for sure. Washington is 0-2 against the spread as a favorite, but Sammy Howell is the difference maker in this game. I saw some numbers where he's got more passing yards than the top 3 guys combined in average. He's got more first down completions than the top 3 guys combined on average in the NFL. And he's got more touchdowns than the top 3 guys combined in the NFL. If the rest of that team could play football, they might be a contender, but they're still about a year away from being 5 years away. And I think the Giants at that plus 8.5 makes a ton of sense. I love that number.
Absolutely. We got no more chat. So we'll quickly recap throughout the card, and then we will head on out for this one here. For me, my college game, we're going with the Hawkeyes of Iowa, minus 3.5. To the professional ranks, we're going with the Rams, minus the 3. And then my teaser is the Giants, plus 8.5, and the Seahawks, minus 1.5. Mike, yours?
Good looking card there, Nick. I can't complain. I like that USC spot. I gave it to you guys, -7, big number here for USC. In a weird looking line out there. The Bills should get the job done. Smack City against New England. For giggles, if you go back and watch my preseason stuff, I talked about Bill Belichick and being fired. And I even said that between this Bills and Dolphins week, it was going to get really, really hot for him. And we're seeing that come to pass here. So we'll see how that pans out. And then it's teaser time, baby. Saturday college football teaser. Big game with Alabama, -2.5 versus Tennessee. And then Old Dominion, ODU, plus 12.5. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of spots here. We just gave you guys 6 looks to cook them bucks. Make sure you guys like and retweet. We appreciate everybody that dropped in here today. Mel, Cameron, Joseph Thompson, Flea Mathis, Tim, Earle, the second half of Earle Sports Bets, Nasty Nate. The whole gang showed up, and we appreciate you guys, man. Let's let them know that we are out here. We're trying to give you guys these spots to get the right numbers now before these lines move and get that cash in your pockets, Nick.
Hell yeah. And the last chat here, you know how much this pains me. Mel says Oregon minus 18.5 to whoop on their Cougars there. But that is it for this show. We will be back here, same time, same place next week for some more early plays to PimpSlap. Until then, good luck, guys.